So the reason why I'm doing this, when I either change gears or accelerate, there's like a noticeable thunk or clunk coming from the rear end. So there's a couple things here. It's either this mount, and that looks pretty bad because, you know, this Jeep's old, or it's the U-joints, which, you know, I'll probably just replace because they're, again, old Jeep. What I'm worried about is that it's actually a backlash in the diff. So, you know, I'm going to kind of systematically go through, and I'm going to replace the mount, then I'll replace the U-joints. Hopefully that'll make it go away. If not, I don't know what the third step there is, but I guess we'll figure it out. So, before I started any of this, I jacked up my transmission, and I put jack stands under the transfer case. Probably not the best thing, but there's nowhere else to put the jack stand. This is really just a support in case everything craps out. You have to release some of the pressure, obviously, off the mount, or else you won't be able to get it anywhere. After the crossmember, the knot goes, there's nothing supporting the transmission. And the transmission is really the third, I mean, it's kind of the third engine mount on this. You know, so there's the tube in the front that's going to keep it side. It's one in the back really keeps the engine north-south, anyway, along its axis, right? So if we don't support this, it's going to be a mess. So support it, add a jack stand so you don't die. So what I've done here already is soaked this bolt and a nut on each side of the crossmember. The crossmember supports the transmission mount. There are, up in here, 4 little bolts like this. They're 13s, and they are attached to the underside transmission mount. Transmission mount, crossmember. So, attach these. They're 4. I think they're only on. It's a very low torque, so they came off relatively easily. Even if they don't, since you're replacing this, it's not going to matter. What I've done here on the crossmember, because this has to come out. Apparently, the bolts are notoriously easy to snap. I live in the Northeast. It's everything's rusty. I was expecting to actually break these, so I soaked them in PB Blaster for about a week, actually. And then I came out and I got my torch and I just heated up these things about 3 or 4 times, and then very, very slowly got my breaker bar out and just ever so slightly jostled them loose. But I succeeded in not snapping these things, so I'm going to count my lucky stars, or whatever it is one counts. So there's a bolt, there's a nut. These apparently are not that hard to get off. So I'm going to drop this off. This thing's all rusty, and you know, I'll probably just like to clean it up, and then we'll take off the transmission mount, which is that little rubber thing back there, and we'll swap it with what we got. Crossmember's out. There it is. Actually, it doesn't look like it's in that bad a shape, but I'll just clean it up and you know, just make it look not quite so terrible. Here is the mount that we're going to be replacing. You can see that there. It's pretty dry rot. It looks pretty beat now. So got a new one. We will replace this. As those look like not very much fun, do they? So I'll have to soak that probably. Hopefully, actually, you know what? I'll probably just soak those and wait another night. All right, folks, we're back. So I soaked these 2 bolts here that are actually holding on the mount. It's an 18. I thought I was gonna have to wait all night, but they actually came loose. This other one did. This one's a little more recalcitrant. So I'm gonna get my. All right, folks, here we go. Last bolt's off. So there is our mount. So there we go. This is looking not looking too bad actually, but seen better days. If you notice, the earlier models here are a bit offset. Later models, I think these are more in the center. Obviously, this is going to match up to where the mounts are. This isn't looking too bad, but it's also not looking too great. It's a little bit dry rot. It's kind of squishy. So I'll replace that. I got a new one, an anchor. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean this thing up because why not? I'm already under here. While I'm under here, I will probably do a little bit of cleanup, just around here, just get rid of some rust, clean things up a little bit, and then we'll put our new mount in there, and then we'll put our Crossmember back. So here is the replacement mount I got from Anchor, part number, made in China, 2625. That's not even find actually. So there aren't a whole lot of these options around. So here's the new one here, and there's the old one. You can definitely see how this thing is kind of beaten up. Now, the OEM one is definitely, it's a bit heftier, thicker metal, thicker rubber, but this will do. So anyway, that's that. Next step is to clean up this thing. I'll probably strip it down, make sure all the rust is taken care of, do the paint job. Probably give this thing another couple coats of paint, just to prevent, the treat that is Boston. All right, so the next time you see this, I'll have it all cleaned up, and we will start the reverse of this process, which is a lot more fun. Hey folks, Dr. D here. So we have our new transmission mount, and it is, just put some paint on it just to make sure it survives a little bit longer. And it's seated here. So the way this works is the bolts are actually all set. I don't know if you can see here. There are 4, and they're more to one side than the other. 4 go more towards the driver's side. It can also help, if you notice here a little bit, one side of the mount is a little bit higher than the other one, and the higher side is supposed to face towards the engine. Lower side towards the back. The bolts, my nuts rather, snugged up in here. I'll get the torques for these, which I need to look up. I'll do that right now, and then that'll be set. All right, folks, let me get this all cleaned up and not looking quite so terrible, and painted, and then we'll install it. So here's the Crossmember. It's all painted up. Actually turned out all right. It's a coat of Rust Restore primer and about 3 coats of Rust-Oleum on there. As I mentioned in an earlier one, these are the mounts. The mounts on one side there's an extra hole, this little hole right here, and so that indicates that this goes on the passenger side, which actually makes sense because these are the 4 mounts here, and these are going to match up with the mount that's already installed. I'm going to get this in, just kind of seat it, and then I'll torque it down, and I will drop the transmission, and I'll show you the work. Hey folks, Dr. D here. We're back. The Crossmember is installed. The mount is installed. Let's see it in there. I don't need anything to say. Anyway, the mount's installed. The Crossmember is installed. Put some anti-seize on the bolts on the Crossmember. In the area around here where I live near Boston, rust is not our friend. These bolts often break, and it's a suffering that I don't want to have to deal with. So anyway, transmission mount, 55 foot-pounds. The nut and the bolt here for the Crossmember are 30. The small bolts going through the Crossmember to secure it to the mounts are 16. We are done with this task. So I think what we're on to next is I'm going to replace the U-joints